Okay, so if all is actually working, this should be going online about now. I'm also hitting the world's longest headphone cable, which I got here. Surprisingly enough, that's not as prominent on camera as I thought it would be. Anyway, yeah, so pause that, because as I say, my internet connection isn't great. I'm already dropping frames. Yeah, I think it was just all the panic of the PC getting up and running. I think it's actually in reality going to be fine. Just double check that. Yes, it's framed up nicely. Okay, so this is what we've got. It has got some shading here, but I'm going to have to redo that. I did it a while ago. I mean, I'm still learning. It's okay, but I could do a far, far better job now. Yeah, you'll see there's various lines and stuff where they shouldn't be. I really need to perfect this kind of overall shape because it's not bad. It just doesn't quite fit as I'd really want it to. Could maybe raise the shoulder up. I don't know. But then I kind of like the overall form of things, for lack of a better term. I'm also, yes, struggling to grab. I think this needs to just be bent a little straighter. I think the way it was curving, it was a bit too dramatic. There we go. So we can split the line there. I'm starting like 10 minutes earlier than yesterday. I must have got on top of the time and such. Yeah, so here we have the line. I think I'm making it just look generally more natural here, although I could always be failing. So, yes. It's going to be low bitrate. I'm doing what I can, but the internet connection isn't great. I also haven't put my music on, which I have found something. Which isn't Gran Turismo music for once. There's only like so much Gran Turismo music in the world. So I feel like the Gran Turismo music was leveled oddly high, so I can raise this up. Is this working? Bit loud. Maybe I'll go to 28. There's no minus 20, minus 31-ish, 32-ish decibels. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know, like, how to level this. I'm just guessing at this point. For minus 34-ish. Minus 34.3. From what I'm seeing on OBS, I'm guessing this is correct. I just have to find it. There we go. So we are on stream now. I am wasting like a minute of time. Yeah, I think this drops frames basically when I am attacking the PC with resolution far higher than it ever wanted. For now, I mean, this arm needs working on quite a bit. Obviously, it shouldn't be out like that. Going to be holding little Taco Agnatha, which is a real thing because I said so. Yeah, it's like, it's literally octopus in Japanese. Okay, so from what I'm seeing, this is going to be like round here because it kind of has to, I feel, fall under this arm, for lack of a better term. Like, I know technically the term is tentacle, not arm, but I like seeing them as like having loads of arms. It's also hair at the same time because Taco Luca things. I feel that goes out a bit too much. Like, maybe if I just bring that in. Like, it's fine having that kind of going outwards like it is. It's just going out more than I would ideally like. So, I don't know. I feel like that needs to go in front because it's holding the headphone. Yay! The surströmming tin, like, I don't know. I think what I'll do is copy it. Because I've got this layer and there's a lot here, but before trimming it all down, I'm going to duplicate it. Because I do want to get this done, but just call this final. And hopefully add a space. There we go. No, I don't want a hashtag. I want to press enter. Anyway, here we have the taco Agnatha. If we move that, we move that, sorry. Yes, we do have one here. Now, the idea is I can attack this with the eraser. If it doesn't work, I still have the original line art to go back to. In my opinion, this is just like a better way of doing things. I think I've got like 100 for line art thickness. Far wider than I use, but as I say, it was transferred from the Samsung tablet at a much smaller canvas size. And then I ended up with this and I just kept it this way. If I was doing it now, I would have used a smaller pen when I was like tracing over the older image, but that is not the case right now. I am not tracing over the older image. I have done that and I'm going to keep the line art as it works. Now this is supposed to be a headphone thingy, which is why it's being held. I can still adjust that. Like, it's not set in stone yet. I think we want to erase that. Which part is going in front? That's what we have to remember. So by the looks of what I did here, I think that's going behind. Like so. There we go. Now, the angling of this, I feel it needs to go under the both of them, actually. So we're going to do that. Get our grabby tool. Then we'll go delete. Yes, that's working. So, yes, so that's kind of going around. I need to extend this out just so it looks like a more natural kind of overlap, if that makes sense. The line just thickening here, especially as I'm using a constant line art width. If that's sticking out, you know it's like from that going around. I could actually straighten that out. I mean, there's too many points. That's why I use the line tool, which I did not do here. I would say stupidly, I didn't exactly have a sketch of this to work with, so it was how it was going to be how it was going to be. So where's this? I could probably actually zoom out if I go control and scroll. No, actually, do I zoom in? Yeah, let's zoom in. I feel being closer is better in general. Okay, that's about the right zoom, whatever that is. In case you didn't realise, this is Forza music. Forza Motorsport 4. I believe this actually predates the Horizon games. Split line. You see, I think it's actually going to work. I wasn't so sure before I really saw it, but now I kind of am. So I want that to go behind. TJ Taco Agnatha. Delete. I'm finally kind of getting used to using the key dial. I never used the key dial that much, which I really should have used it. I had such a tool and, you know, I was not using such a tool as such a tool should have been used. I'm slightly confused as to what to do here. I feel like maybe. So if we split line there, delete that. I'm just like blindly hoping this is going to work at such a point because I have no idea if it will. Maybe if I drag that a little. There we go. Drag that up. So I believe that is supposed to go around there. I don't know, because I feel like it's supposed to attach to the hair, but how do I do this? It's certainly holding the surströmming. Which, I mean, speaking of which, again, there is a lot to erase here. I basically erased nothing. And that has its notable flaws, doing such. Delete that. So that is also holding it. So if we can erase that, sure. Not really any harm to come from doing so. As I say, I do have the line art backed up. Is that... Now I'm slightly curious. Have I messed this up? Or is the... I think it is. I think it's just hidden. Yes, it is. Just checking, because the surströmming tin goes around there. And then we have this arm, as I call it, going there. This is like... It's trickier than I thought. Just because I have to know where it's going to break into it. There we go. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to look kind of legible. So I'm going to try and run with that if I can. So I think this is going around the outside. So yes, in this case, I can take that one. And there we go. Delete that. Delete this. And we still have that there. I'm actually on the vector eraser and I'm using vector lines, so it will kind of snap. It's on this particular setting, erase up to intersection. That's what I'm using. That's what seems to work in my particular usage case. Also, I believe that's supposed to come from like behind the head, so and go around. So you know, I don't actually need the bit in front. I'm thinking. Okay, I don't want that part of it. Then I can get the vector doodad, which I do have a shortcut on my key dial, but I'm not using it because I'm a fool. And I pressed delete on the wrong thing, like I pressed delete on the whole image. Not something you should be doing. That's the mouth. I did my OO mouth. Because why not? Anyway. Yes, we have this. Now, where's the selector? You know, I feel like the way it is, you wouldn't really see the mouth. All that effort into trying to make it look decent, and you can't even see it. At least you kind of get the idea of where the mouth sits, just from these bits that are showing. I am not dropping any more frames, which is nice to know. Us be going with the eraser. There we are. Then, yes, just add that way. I did put it on the key dial to make it easier for myself. I am not making it easier for myself. I feel like the surströmming is meant to be at the front. So we'll go there. We'll go delete that. So actually that is a tin, so it'll go over a whole lot of the image if I'm honest. go over that, which is the chin. That hair, okay, that can sit on top of the tin. That's like, it's of that kind of point. It would work visually. So I feel like that is something. That's supposed to be holding the tin. It looks like it's holding her own arm. I don't know, do octopuses have genders or is it technically genderless? The things I think about. It's not really something that requires thinking about, though. It's just like a little mascot character, which is what actually created Taco Luca, because people needed like a mascot, not mascot, they needed like a character item. I think it kind of eventually ended up being sardines, but yes, it's this was like one of the creations, and I think it is officially recognized by Krypton. It's just, you look on the internet, basically all of the Taco Luca stuff is like 2009. It's crazy, because like, why is everyone just ignored such a wonderful character? I don't know, maybe it's horror, maybe people see it as nightmare fuel, and I'm like the only person who thinks it's cute. Also, they're not like Taco Luca eyes. Taco Luca eyes are typically rounder, but you know, I'm going to have to make them bigger. It's what I do. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to give them colour or anything. I could, because giving them green colour, it would like give it more of an idea that it is like mini her. Mini Agnatha. I mean, from what I've seen of Taco Luca, it's basically portrayed as being Luca's child, essentially. So, you know. There we go. I was going to say I don't like that, but it actually looks like it's bending because it's putting pressure on that, and it's like pushing it back a bit. So yes, that curve actually looks kind of natural. Now, I can't hate this. It's working. I mean, the mouth, I don't actually like too much. The way it's sitting, it just looks off. But until I'm certain, I'm going to keep it there. Actually, yeah, would that? No, I think the mouth goes over the tin because it's kind of being eaten. So, you know. The little baby Taco Agnatha can't get into the surströmming tin. Agnatha is obsessed with surströmming, so why not make the little Agnatha obsessed with surströmming, which is like very, very stinky fish. And I mean, that's kind of a joke. She loves it so much, even though it's this like kind of thing that's kind of revolting, like worldwide known to be revolting. She was also meant to be the Demon Lord. If only the hero wasn't such a terrible person. And if only she wasn't summoned as the hero in the first place, maybe things would have been different. But they weren't. Yeah, now I'm seeing problems with a tin. I can correct that though. It actually looks... Just looking at it on the OBS screen, it does look like it's kind of tilted. I think with the mouth, I'll keep it for now, because if I change the tin's shape, which I may well do, yes, that's going to have to change. Now, which one of these? I think that one's in front. We have to just remember this. It's not always the easiest thing to manage with all this detail, but I think I'm getting somewhere. Like, you'll see, hopefully. The eyes will be detailed on here. I think I'm happy with this for now, though. Like, it's made progress, made some good progress. You see her hair, though, the way it, like, parts in the middle. It's not something I normally do, but on this character, yes, that's where she gets her hair from. So... We can erase that, or I would say we can erase that. Don't think it would have done anything here. We've got the line art for Agnatha somewhere. Final character line art, that'd be it. So I want to get the vector grabbing tool. Oh dear, I've deleted the whole line art. Yes, all that time gone away because I made a mistake. But it's back now, so I should not be panicking. Yeah, that hair is just off, but I'm not going to worry about it too much now. Okay, so I don't know, like, I do kind of need to finish this because it's holding this character back, as I need to do the arms to make her hold it. So, you know, it doesn't need colour. I can add colour later. But I think I'm onto something. Okay, the tin. I know that the tin has been a bit off. I'm going to just try shaping it. Like, I don't really know what I'm doing, if I'm honest. I don't actually need two separate thingies there, though. So I can get rid of that because just to simplify the line art. We can delete that point. To think I've not even used the pen yet to draw. I have the pen, but I have not used it to draw with today because of how I am doing this. It's one of those things that should be like backwards, but it's working, so we don't ask questions. There we go. I have a little project I've thought of working on, so, you know, I probably won't stream tomorrow or anything, but, you know, I'm going to stream that when I have basically got the basis for it together. It should be easy enough from what I'm seeing. Just like remaking this music video, but with my characters, because, you know, there's not been a remake, and the video is like 2010 or something, and it was out in 480p. So why not make it in 8K with my characters? It can work, I feel. The animation style is pretty simple, so it could be a good little task to do. I could even hurt people's ears by singing a song. Don't everyone just love ear pain? I'm not so sure what I'm doing here. Maybe if I rotate it a little. So I think that's something I can do. Like, I don't think this is massively off, actually. Just getting the perspective right is a tricky thing, and as I say, I have to do this to continue with the main character because it just has to fall into place. So I feel like maybe, yeah, let's remove this point. Delete control point. Go around here. It is now 13:13. Random time, but you know, it feels special. I should do a stream on the 6th of the 9th. It's a very good date to stream. I feel like... Okay, I've got my perspective messed up, but stay with me on this. The tin is like being chewed, so... What if I just like have all the metal here like messed up? Then it can kind of make up for my poor tin anatomy. Yeah, no, that's probably not the actual term, but that's actually kind of funny, I think. So we'll erase this control point. So yeah, the idea being like... Taco Agnatha is desperately trying to get into this tin of surströmming, but it is literally a tin, and she's not so good at opening tins. Trying to open it like a cat or a dog would. So do we want this to curve around? Maybe so. It seems like it's over there now. There we go. I think that works actually. Moving it over a little helps. Maybe even pivot this. Yes, that's actually looking pretty good now. At least by my standards. Poor Taco Agnatha desperately wants to get into that tin of surströmming. I believe, I might have said, but I think Taco Luca, it's tuna. That is like the drug of Taco Luca. There we go. I don't know, that doesn't look quite right because that part's not in the mouth, but maybe if I had it like kind of come up a little, just because like the metal is all grooved and everything. There we go. I think that looks decent, more decent, like it's actually been bitten. This is just so dumb. It's so dumb, and that's exactly why I love it. Yeah, she has really bitten that tin. It's like caved in so much. There we go. So we also have this this line down here. You see, I feel like it's one of those things though, like it didn't make sense until I started erasing stuff. The tin looked fine to begin with. I mean, I could actually add a bite mark on this side, almost like she's been turning it around, desperately trying to get in at that surströmming, but failing. Unfortunately. Will Taco Luca ever get her surströmming? Who knows? If she does, the world will certainly smell worse. So my point is, like, maybe just have a little chip, like, here. Bring that down. Like, I kind of like the idea here that I've got. I don't know about the execution. Yes, Taco Agnatha really does want that Surstroming. Ah, okay. So I'm just thinking those lines, they just need to be extended a bit. Which is fine. I mean, I know I erased it, but everything's changing on this image constantly, so still. You can't just expect everything to work first time. Sometimes it won't, sometimes that's the nature of it. I believe I'm onto something though. I think maybe just because of the nature of like perspective and all that, maybe if I start going up like this. There we go. Like, I think just generally we need a curving, like, overall nature to get this to look a little more natural. There we go. Yeah, I'm just being like, somebody open the tin. Think of a little thing. Her one dream was to get Surstroming. So we'll go switch corner. I'll likely delete some of this. I did split, like, I meant switch corner there. I think it is broke, like. I just don't want this sharp angle. There we go. I went on split line and I do not want to split the line. So I just ended up with something I didn't want. And now is it going to drop frames? I just saw like that save icon and that's like, oh no, my PC is going to get used. It's going to drop frames. It could be an internet connectivity thing, I know. But like, I'm not going to throw much of this PC away because I just rebuilt it. It's designed for a specific purpose, and it does this specific purpose very well, in my opinion. I mean, I now have a newer power supply and a newer fan, so things shouldn't be going wrong on me. I also have the world's cheapest Chinese mechanical keyboard, which is far better than it has any right to be. So we have that. Let's go up a little there. There we go. Like, I don't know. I think that looks okay, but I can do far better. Just in general. I was thinking actually this wouldn't make sense in the overall grand scheme of the story, having Taco Agnatha, but when you think about it, the tin of Surstroming I think is actually a nice hint to just the overall story. Like, you know, how Agnatha absolutely loves Surstroming. I've also thought making it so this is like basically a plush. I know Taco Luca plushes exist, so why not a Taco Agnatha plush? It makes sense. I know she's not like really famous or anything, but still. You can have a plush made. It's not like inconceivable stuff. And I guess it's more what it represents than the actual Taco Agnatha itself. Like, it represents her, like, desperate addiction to Surstroming, so that's the thing. Yeah, it says the stream's bit rate is low. I get that. My internet isn't great. It's enough for 1080 24p at very low bit rate, that's it. Yeah, I like this actually. So now I've finally kind of got these like teeth marks, for lack of a better term. So you can see, like, it's been nibbled at. She desperately wants us Surstroming. I could, like, I'm thinking actually, because I saw a reference image for Surstroming. There were definite ridges on the top and bottom. I don't necessarily need that for the sake of what it is. I mean, I hate myself for not overcomplicating it, but it's a case of, do I need it? Because it's just going to mean nothing ultimately. And having this kind of more cartoony style, it does have advantages. From what I'm thinking here, actually. And that is not something I wanted to do. There we go. I don't know. I think this needs like arching out, which means I will need another vector point down here. There we go. Reconnection successful. I don't know. It just came up at the bottom. And I was like, oh no. It's done that before. So I think it just means like I've dropped a few frames, like maybe 2-3 seconds. It's been down and then it's just got back up again. Got this TP-Link Wi-Fi dongle. I mean, I was using Chinese ones before. This is pretty good in the grand scheme of things. There we go. I think the idea with that is going around the back. You see here, like, that just looks a bit off, and it is. I need to colour that. So, taco... okay, so I don't have to have ultra complex hair, but what I do have has to make sense. It has to look basically decent. Like, I don't have to go really over the top with the hair. As I say, this is ultimately just a little mascot character. This doesn't have to be ultra detailed. So if I bring that round, just try and make these lines work. Don't know if there's a way to attach lines. I know I can select multiple at the same time, which is probably the best option. I actually remembered now. I've got to Control C, Control V, which will copy this line. I actually did that with a surströmming tin originally. So if we go, maybe rotate this a little. I think, as I say, this isn't the main focus of the image, so it doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to like be there, and it has to have enough detail to somewhat make sense. I'm also going to make it smaller, so I think the line art will be okay, but it is going to be a lot smaller than it is now. Maybe like a quarter of the size or something. It has to fit in her arms, in like Agnatha's arms, so yes. I guess this is what they call putting the artist in, putting some part of the artist into their own work, and then, yeah, with me, it's literally just drawing this weird goofy character. That's if I could even call myself an artist, which I struggle with. I feel like the line art on this is kind of too thin. It's actually 22. Here's a funny story as to why it's 22. It's because I was working on this Sakura image, and the line art for that was 22, so when I kind of came back to this, it retained that size, and I've obviously just like drawn there. I mean, I don't know, I maybe did just a tin of surströmming and I was like, hey, that's all I want to add for now. As I'm doing these streams, I notice I'm working on this character a lot more, but I don't mind as much, because at least I have kind of a documentation of all the stuff I'm doing. And it feels like it's going quicker as well, because I don't know, maybe I just feel the pressure to do more. I still got my shiny Logitech B100. This is working as well. Last stream it went and I had to use this one. This Lenovo, remove it out of it. Yeah, the thing doesn't focus so well close up. Seeing my face from the distance it is, like it's 720p cropped down to this size, so it's fine in that case, but I cannot really like just go too close. If I put my hand there, for example, it's actually kind of focusing on that, but you see at that distance it struggles to focus on my fingers. That's the easiest way I can show it. Oh, okay. I am seeing something like this is the one control point. It's like the one on the end where it gets smaller. So the easiest way to do that. You can resize it to make it match the size of the rest. It's not really something I want to bother with though. Okay, so I think I'm done, basically. Besides like a few smaller stuff. So go add control point there. Split the line. Delete the leftovers. Yeah, that seems to have come out fine. Again, I'm just going to do the same thing because... Well, I could have probably, to be honest with this though, I would have probably been better off dragging that other point, but I didn't. It's just, you know, that point of the hair, it has to kind of lay over the tin, so the only way I can get that working is by doing something like that. This I can use the eraser. Ultimately, as I think I said, I want to just do the flowing line so I get that in the right place. And then the mouth, that can get trimmed. Like, I don't like what I've done there, but at least you can see there's bits of a mouth where they belong. I need to look up Taco Luca. Does Taco Luca have a nose? I don't think she does. And it is very much a reference to that. If it has a nose, then I'll replicate it. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Yes. Taco Luca does not seem to have a nose. There is blushing kind of stuff typically on them though. So, I don't know how I'll add that. I'll probably do it later on. That's probably the easier way of doing it, especially if I'm in the colouring process. So, we have Taco Agnatha. I should be able to resize the character. I'm going to go Shift and select all of these. There's probably an easier way, but you know, I know this works. I would resize those few bits sticking out, but I can delete them later. I've done the bulk of the work here. The stuff that needs doing. So we've got this. Yes, I mean, as I say, it's not perfect. It doesn't have to be. Which sounds odd for me because I like to try and perfect every single tiny piece of my work, but it is what it is. And I mean, as I say, I was doing it at this size, because as I say, it's probably like 4 times what it actually needs to be. But still, yes. It just gives me more space to make errors and have them not show in the final product. From what I'm seeing, Taco Luca, the head is like a little smaller than Luca's, and I intend to use that kind of logic. Oh, I can like stretch it out. So Taco Luca I think is very square. Almost chibi-like, I would say. I mean, since I'm given the opportunity to just change that. Dear. I'm thinking actually now, though, I have moved the character. So I'm going to just try using the rectangular select tool, see if that gets the vector lines. Yeah, it doesn't get the background. I mean, it's not selected as vector lines, it's just selected basically everything in that square. I'll take it. It's working. Thankfully, by making it smaller, I moved it away from all the other stuff. Now, Taco Agnatha is in home. Yeah, that size looks about correct. and it fits in the location I want it to fit in. So we've done that in 45 minutes. So I've done that about half a stream. I think I'm going good for time. It does look a bit canted. I don't know why. I tend to draw characters like that instead of like that. But at least with all the vector tools and stuff, I can correct that. I mean, I don't know why I do it. Because I get all the anatomy basically correct. But I just do it at the wrong angle. No idea how. I mean, perhaps it's because I learned to use digital. And then when I did use digital, you can correct this stuff. Like, I could correct it all along, basically, other than when I first started and I had no idea how vector lines worked or anything. Because there was a time like that. I just didn't have any of this technical knowledge. I wasn't always as decently proficient at it as I am now. So, like, how is she going to hold her little taco Agnatha? You know what? I'm actually happy with this, I'll be honest. Just seeing it in its final form. This is not even my final form. I can turn into a bigger taco Agnatha. Now, as I say, I've tried to like rotate the body a little there, so it just like not like straight on. It's a bit like that, and I think it does give it a little more life. But still, there's things that need improving. So what I'll most likely do, I think. Yeah, apply transparency. I think I can probably just go and keep it a normal layer and everything, but like go with transparency, maybe 25%, so we know where it is on the image. But by doing that, it will give me a chance. I have not checked YouTube actually. I got distracted with my references and I didn't actually see if there's any comments or anything, which is not good at me. Not good of me at all. There we go. So we have this. Oh yeah, as I was saying, I'll go with a select, deselect, just to try and get where I want. Like, it looks odd now, but it's supposed to, because we can see. I'm pretty sure you can see on the stream. It's there. It's a bit more of an outline though, so maybe I want to go more for the actual opacity. Or is that less opacity but more there? I think 50, honestly. 25, it's very transparent, but you could tell it was there. This 50, I should have no issue working around it, but it's a lot more visible, so I'll be able to understand it with the hand anatomy. Taco Agnatha. And we have left eye. Final character liner. I believe that's... Yes, that is this. You see here, like, the texture. I'm going to change that. I'm basically going to erase it and work it over. I don't think I'll use the airbrush, but I have a way around that. If I use the soft eraser, I can actually use this regular pen, whatever it is I'm using, the G pen, which it uses a reference layer and keeps within it. Very useful. But if I use the soft eraser, and maybe just one or two layers extra instead of doing it all on one layer, I can actually just use that and it acts like an airbrush. It looks like an airbrush, but it isn't an airbrush, and that means it conforms with a line, saves loads of time. I should have done that a lot more, but I'm still learning this stuff. Still learning these little techniques and things. Okay, I feel like the arm, if I bend this arm around it, it'll look a bit more natural in how she's holding it. Her? I don't know. Well, it is a being, so it is a bit disrespectful, I feel. I mean, I don't know. The Among Us coon I drew, mainly for game lore reasons, that is actually it. It identifies as it. It's literally like a humanoid character based on an Among Us. And I think it worked like far better than it had any right to. Especially for a half-an-hour drawing. Or was it? No, it was called a Mogus Coon, sorry. I should know as Guy Coon how to pronounce my own name. But it's the first time for everything, I guess. That almost sounds like a Psycho Killer by Talking Heads. Just that intro of that kind of song. Yeah, I can hear that, I'm sure. I know it's not that, but it does sound like it's taken some, at least influence from it. So yeah, this arm is going to have to curve in maybe an unnatural way. I don't know, actually. If I give it this kind of angle, it would be like the arm is like that, if that makes sense, instead of just like being a wobbly noodle. So I can make this work, actually. It's just like I want the arm to kind of support the Taco Agnatha here, and I can do that. All I really have to do to get it working is just like sharpen this angle here so it looks like the elbow. As I said before, like there's a certain angle here which is kind of sharp. That's what I intend to replicate. Just again, just like moving this out will give it that more sharp angle. I can adjust the inner line as well, like I'm just adjusting the outer line of the arm for the time being. There we go. So, I think I'm getting there. As I say, I'm trying to just like get the angle here to make it look... It doesn't have to be like a super sharp angle. Nothing on the human body is really like absolute knife edge sharp, as far as I know. Even the teeth aren't like that sharp in the grand scheme of things. But the just in general, you do need an angle to make it work. So I feel like that looks enough like a elbow. You can see like he goes out and then he kind of snaps that way. That is natural. That looks decent. Actually, if I move this up, it does kind of enhance the angle, but I don't have to go like floppy on the bottom to achieve the overall look I'm going to achieve. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy with that. Also, the hand. You can have a hand that goes like that. Like, the hands do not have to be fixed to be like that. They can be like that even, or that. They can bend more, especially this way. They can go like 90 degrees. So, like, yeah, 90 degrees in either way. That maybe you're looking at more like 30 degrees, but it's going to bend this way, so I think it's going to work. You know, I shouldn't really study myself for anatomy though, because my fingers are like this. Fingers like, they won't bend straight if I try. They just don't like going straight. Yes, so that's the thing. I'm kind of actually feeling lazy. I feel like it would be easier to just copy and paste, especially as like the angle and everything is kind of predetermined. There we go. You see, like, I might have to redo the sleeve a bit, but especially with the overall angle, the body like pointing that way, the arm there will be a little hidden. And that's just natural. That's just how these stuff will work. I think if I pivot this as well, because the arm does get narrower as you go lower down. I can try and show that as well. Like, you see the end here? I think that's a good example. Like, you see the end? That's probably as good an example as I'm going to get. It just goes a bit larger, and I think it continues to do that as you go further up the arm, but I only have so much webcam space to show it. So there we go. We have the hand will go something like this. As I say, it can bend up to like 90 degrees. It's not going to in this case, but that's fine. I feel like the surströmming tin, what I'm probably going to do for colour actually is just hide the hand for the most part. So as long as the base anatomy is here, I can make it work. Just again, try and give it less of a dramatic sharp angle. So if I look at my hand for like the basic template, we will have the thumb, I believe, going that way, because if I put it like facing as it is in the image. Obviously, like that, the arm is bent a lot more dramatically, because if I move it down, yeah, the angle gets like less dramatic. Like that's the best way I can show it. I only have so much camera space. The angle on this is actually fairly wide in the grand scheme of things. I can show what needs to be shown. So this is 50. That's a lot of downsized nature for that. I don't know if that's correct in terms of length. The thumb shouldn't be too long actually, so no, I don't want to grab that. I'm just being dumb. You know, I'm being so stupid here. I can lock layers. No less, I didn't really do any harm, but I can lock that layer and it won't bother me. Look, I can't click on it. I can click on this one where the lines that need to be edited are, which is what I should have done a while ago. So I feel like, I don't know, the thumb is trying to support the surströmming. Which way does the finger angle? In my case, it angles up that way, but it doesn't have to. Like, the finger is a bit angled like that, not perfectly straight. What fingers are perfectly straight when they're attached to me? I can move this up. Yes, I think that's one thing. Like, if I'm doing this, I actually kind of want the thumb to point like that way. I don't want the thumb to be like absolutely facing upwards. Let's give it a try. I'm going to have to edit this, or I'm probably better still going to have to draw over it. There's so many vector points, so it's better if I just use a straight line tool. We are about an hour in now. For an hour and a half stream. I do think I've got a decent amount of work done. I do feel like though, just doing these streams, I'm pressured to work faster. Which is actually a good thing for me. Like, this isn't my main pieces. I like to take my time on them, which I think is fine given the context. So, okay, we have this. It angles fairly nicely. I think I want the hand to be like there as if it's holding something. The thumb can like come out here and hold the surströmming in place. Help her little friend eat the surströmming. I'm not seeing the upper line of a surströmming. What have I done? Have I deleted that? I locked the layer now. Looks like I have deleted it or something. I can get around this. It's not the biggest loss in the world, but it's inconvenient, to be quite honest. It's just I don't know when I've done it. I'll probably lose more work though trying to bring it back than I gain. Did I? I'm just thinking actually, did I move that but not select the upper line? Because if that's the case... So we had the character about here. They're not selectable. That's all I could think. Maybe it's that one. Yeah, that actually does look like the correct thing. So maybe I just didn't move it with the rest of the piece. Because it's got like the little dint there as well, which is representative of what's going on. So I can for now just like reuse these nails. It's not the same as just turning the thumb 90 degrees, not from turning the other hand 90 degrees. There's more to it than that, but I believe personally that the way this needs to be done is overall more simple than I'm thinking. I'm going to need basically, so if I look at my hand here, there's like a certain way the fingers fall into place. So they're not actually entirely covered up. Now we're looking more like that. So the nail I think should be on the bottom of the visible finger, so to speak. There we go. Yeah, these lines, I would say they're too big, but as I say, that's the overall, not colour scheme, that's the overall scheme I'm going with, though, for this whole image. Just thicker line art. Now, I know this nail isn't great, but I can just, like, copy and paste it to get the idea, and then I can replace it later. Somebody didn't get the memo that I need to copy and paste. So we have that, yes. So from what I'm seeing, that's going to need to be definitely compressed to kind of make sense. I'll probably make the nails themselves smaller. Although we're already on 50, so I don't know. Maybe make them 25 or something. I've done it before on pieces and it's just worked. Like, the nails do not need to be ultra thick for line art. It just doesn't really add much, as long as there's line art there and it's visible. So actually, I'm just thinking, if we split this, like, somewhere here, split line. The idea being, so we're going to basically be running kind of the fingers down here. I am not pointing with my mouse, the fingers down here. Why was I pointing with my hand? You cannot see that. So we've got, yeah, that's like the way I'm doing it. So the next one there needs to kind of be up here, and then yes, I'm getting the idea now. Is that drop frames? No, it hasn't dropped frames. It's not dropping frames now. It did drop frames before. It did even at the very start of the stream, but things are going fine. So as I say, maybe it's the internet connection, not the actual PC, which wouldn't be entirely surprising. It's a decent PC. I wouldn't game on it, but it's not bad at all for just art stuff. Best PC I've ever owned for art. Yeah, but I designed it precisely to be the best PC I've ever owned for art stuff, so that wouldn't be a surprise. So as I say, I think we need to go... No, we don't need to do that. We need to go and grab this. Basically, yeah, just have it from like under that finger. And even so, it's like, the more I think about it, the more we don't actually want the finger like that. Like, we want this just to imply it's very much tilted and holding the other character. Like, this may not look like much at the moment. It's a work in progress. And we have 25 minutes to do something. Just staring at my own hands. I get it, like, mine are not typical, but there's still stuff I can learn. So, yes. Okay, I believe the other finger, like, comes out that way. I think, from what I'm seeing here, actually, yes. This needs to go round like that. I mean, I get it, there's kind of a jarring angle here. I'm going to try and correct that. Mouse looks like it's not smooth. Well, it's not smooth on here. I don't know why it seems to be jumping. It's probably my mouse. It's only like... Well, I would say an 800 DPI mouse. I did look up B100. It said 1000. Which seems actually decent. Although, I'm sure people have like 3000 DPI mice. I'm not trying to compete with gamers on this setup. I just want something I can art with. I have a PC for gaming. But this, I like to just keep all my artwork on it separate. No games on this one, because it's all about just getting stuff done. And being a tiny PC. That packs far more of a punch than you would think for something of its size. I guess you could call it a sleeper. It's not a sleeper in the traditional sense. It's not in a beige case or anything, but it just doesn't look near as powerful as it actually is. Now, we've got that finger, so if I'm holding something like that, kind of like that, yeah. So we've got this nail. We'll need to go basically higher up, I think. That's if it's like that, but you look at the hand being like that, the thumb doesn't go like that. The thumb naturally falls into place there. And I am going to replace these nails, as I said before, but they give me something to work with, some idea where this stuff all falls. So I can do that just again to get an idea of where everything will go. That's looking more natural now, and especially if she's holding like the surstrumming in place, it would be like pushing against that side of a finger. It wouldn't be necessarily an unrealistic way for it to be. Hands, to me, can be a pain, yes. There's definitely a certain science to it, though. There's a certain strategy and a certain science that maybe doesn't initially show itself to be obvious, but there is a way of doing this. There's a way of like learning how to do it. My way is probably the wrong way, but I just look at stuff. Is there a wrong way? I don't know. I was told once I was doing art the wrong way, and then I did art anyway. The only way my art is the way it is because I do it the wrong way. So, again, we've got this. I think the nails are actually matched to the top. I did not realise that at first. It's not an ultra glamorous character or anything, yeah, but just making the nails coloured, you can add a lot of like personality to a character without really trying. So, we've got that, yeah. This one seems to be like doing that. You don't always have to have all the fingers visible though, like as long as you get the idea that something is there. So in this case, yeah, like that would cut off here and there'd be like a natural curvature. I think your mind would like just finish this off based on what you can't see, if that makes sense, because the line art is very thick and I'm not going to change the line art being very thick. But what I am going to change is just some of the minor stuff. What I am going to change is my sponsor. No, I don't have a sponsor. Yeah, I mean, imagine if I just went and suddenly promoted something really dodgy. This is promoted by healthy foods for you. We may use fat and it may be very greasy, but believe us, it's still healthy. Next I'll find out that's a real thing. You know, they literally make stuff like coated in oil and then they claim it's healthy. I mean, I know the Subway, I don't know if they like coat everything in oil, but I'm sure they're not as healthy as they pretend they are. Because they're like, oh, it's a sandwich, it's going to be out. You know, the quality of ingredients, what those ingredients contain, all that, it acts to it. It adds in some way or takes away from in some way the food. So, yeah, so got my ears on. I didn't even notice. Last time I think I must have had something wrong because it just didn't sit right. As I say, I'm going to redo these hands. But for now, I want to get them working. Also, might I add, I do want to, Taco Agnatha is not, it's not, well, on the vector layer, but Taco Agnatha is not a reference layer, so it should be fine. Final character colour. You see, hopefully what I'm doing here, I am just trying to make this stuff less noticeable. Now, the skin colour, as I think I said before, it just doesn't quite look natural. I can't put my finger on it, but it's just something odd. Something about it doesn't quite look like a real skin tone. It feels like it maybe cants a bit too much to the yellow side of things. Skin tones can vary, I get that much, but maybe I'll go with some red. There we go. I think if I go with this colour wheel, maybe. So we want maybe a bit of orangey red for a start, would be a good start, and then I wouldn't mind making it slightly darker skin, that wouldn't be the complaint. The point is, this just doesn't look like actual skin, should it? I'll see how this works. I mean, it really depends. Okay, that doesn't look bad. I think if I made it a little lighter, because the character is literally canonically Japanese, so you can't have it like too dark and actually like work as for like the backstory and all that. But it doesn't have to be like super light and pale. I just have to have something that somewhat works. That does look a little more natural. I feel though like maybe adding a little more to the red side of things could help. That has actually made it look, I think, a bit more like skin. Just really fine adjustment, because skin can vary quite wildly. I feel like this is about correct. Like, it's not the absolute lightest colour, but it works for the overall character. It looks really... I'm pretty sure my graphics tablet is a bit more accurate than the OLED because of how I've got that set up, but, you know, for what I'm using it for, the OLED, large OLED display does a decent job. Yes, I mean, as I say, it's not the absolute lightest colour, but it works, so I'm not going to complain. Before, what the colour was, it wasn't natural. And I mean, this is flat colour. I've used a character before, and it didn't look like that great as flat colour, but I can tell there's certain natural look to it. Also, I can, like, slightly change the skin tone in how I adjust it, like, later on. I feel like if it was ever so slightly lighter, it would look maybe just right. There we go. Small difference, but I think it makes a difference. Yeah, I feel like this just looks right for the character. But I can slightly change the colour in the colouring process, because this is just a flat colour. This is not like going to be really entirely representative of what it finally ends up looking like. Yes, I mean, that works for the character. I'll take it. Once I add depth and stuff, it will look really good, I can tell. What it had before, though, that tone just somehow didn't look like actual skin. At least not human skin. Yeah, I'm quite happy with this colour. To me, it looks a lot more natural. Hard to explain, but it just makes sense. And if it looks natural as it stands, I probably don't need to do this because of that. You know, it doesn't actually look as awful having the arm there as I would have thought, but that's, I think, because I've corrected all this. Anyway, some of this colour was a bit off. So, by filling this out now with a new angle on the arm, things are going to work. I mean, you can just see the other colour, though. Like, this looks feasibly like a skin colour. That, it just looks, I don't know. It looks like a banana impersonating a human. It's just not quite something that would appear naturally. I can't really explain it. But like, this looks like you could actually see someone with that kind of skin. And it would make sense. So, I am just thinking, actually, the way I match the colours up, it's not going to work, given the background and stuff. Then we've got, yeah, lighter pink, not what I was originally going for, but it gives some contrast while still keeping the colour scheme going. Alternatively, I could actually match it to the hair. Because, as I say, I want the colours to, like, somewhat have a colour scheme. Green nails don't look bad. Well, I don't know, it's more like turquoise, is it? I could use the eyes, but I think the eyes are like a bit more dramatic colour. Quite like this as a nail colour. It doesn't seem too much out of the world. It seems like it could actually be a thing. You see, the hand anatomy is fine here, but I mean, there's like a million different poses I could do that are so much better, especially with Taco Agnatha. So I find like the overall image looks better. I mean, I know the skin kind of looks lifeless, but as I add more to it, it will come to life. It will just fall into place. It's crazy actually, it's the same colour, but it looks a bit darker on the arms. It may just be how it's contrasting with the other colours around it though. It wouldn't be inconceivable to say like that's affecting it. Once I've done everything though, it should all fall into place. There we go. Now I want to see how this looks when I add the Taco Agnatha. Yes, I have to unlock it. Also though, I can use this as an opportunity to try and move this piece back. I have rotated it and everything, but still. It's good to see that I still have this. That I didn't like delete it or something stupidly. Like, it's extra effort, but no less. Maybe I did delete it, I don't know. I think I know what's going on. I think I made this character smaller, but I didn't actually make this piece smaller. Yeah, so I think overall I have made good improvements. They're just making this look more correct, look less awkward. Now, as I say, now I've done Taco Agnatha, sorry. I could try and colour Taco Agnatha, but there is various things that need settling first. Like, as I say, the skin tone will change, the overall position of the lettering will change, because it needs to. It needs to make more sense. Okay, so about 10 minutes left now. Short streams, but they just work for me. As I say though, I'm making good progress on this now. Like, considering how much I have changed, because I just feel like I have to just sit down and work on it. No excuses. If I make excuses, everyone will see and everyone will know it's just an excuse. Yeah, I think the text needs stuff doing to it. So why not try that now? Well, why not try that now? I don't know. This. Yeah, I got so far, but there's only so much I could do. Get the delete key there. I feel like just rotating this actually will get me somewhere. I want this to be like actually right on the edge. Now this is where things get complicated. I feel like I should separate out the text from the rest of the stuff, because if I do that, so duplicate layer. So we'll go final character text, just because I can adjust this, and if I make it go lower, for the sake of not messing up the line art, I'll lock that. I'll lock Taco Agnatha final. And final character text. Now, this may not make sense now. It will make sense in the future. Very near future. Actually, I could also do that. Also lock that. So finally, I just have the easy way of doing this stuff without messing everything up. Has the music finished? It has. Back to Gran Turismo music, I guess. I don't know what's going on here. It won't seem to erase the, Oh. It is doing it, but... Okay, that's okay then. It's doing it. Doing it, but I had the other layer active. So... Left eye. That can also be locked. Why didn't I lock that? But just make it invisibilized for now. Yeah, you may see what I'm doing. Final character text, naturally, because it's the final text of the character. And it's going to be nothing else. I need to remember, I'm not going to erase Taco Agnatha, so I can do this. Will that erase that? No, it won't. You see, I don't want to mess up the text. And I'm going to have to remove the text from the other piece as well, the other layer. I mean, the one good thing, the one redeeming factor is that can be made invisibilized for now. The one redeeming factor is that I can, I would say re-enable line art. I actually, yeah. There's no easy way out of this. Delete and delete. There's the text. I'm gonna have to flex this text around and like move it and stuff, so final character line art, this can get unlocked. The good thing about the text, as I have got it, it will just not appear, not the right word. It just will not mess with it. Yeah, now I want to turn the R into an Among Us or an Among Us. The not copyrighted version. That is something. Oddly, without the text, it actually looks pretty nice. Also, without the text or the colour or any of that, I can actually see how to fix this, let's say. It's been a lot of just generally fixing this now, but to give it more of a kind of natural just angle here, because without the text there to like mess with the perceptions that you have of this, and I am dropping frames apparently at some point. Okay, so this is looking good. I'm liking how this is going. It just doesn't look awkward. It doesn't look near as awkward as it did. There we go. I'm not going to say I like it like perfectly, but the overall angling of every part of this character is just falling into place now. It's like I can't make big movements with the vectors because I just don't know how it's going to work. I'm still mostly guessworking this. I have like a very basic understanding of how stuff should fall, and that's it. There we go. I feel like the legs also kind of need adjusting. They just... the angle isn't quite right. It's just there, if that makes sense. Besides the fact the legs are a completely different colour to the rest of the skin. That's not going to work overall. So I will be finishing soon. I think I've done okay. I'm not going to recolour this yet. I'm just going to try and get the text to fall correctly. So we have this. As I say, like, there's a certain angle here. Like, the angle, if we're imagining this, that is one side there. That is also the same side. And then that is the front side. So, yeah, we've got it like the text hanging onto the side. It's not actually on the front of a character. So that needs fixing. I feel like the lettering, again, I can kind of use the viewer's mind to, I guess, I don't know, autocomplete is probably the wrong term, but yeah, it's like the human mind sees something, I feel, and it automatically tries to figure what's going on. So if it sees like half a letter, it'll go, oh, I know what that is. You can't hide that letter from me, and then it renders the letter basically. So as long as the anatomy is good and stuff, that is something. I mean, I think I'll just, while I finish off today, I'll get these into position. Then when I've done that, now, I probably should have been selecting multiple ones at once. But I'll get like the basic position here, and then I will fix them later. So yeah, this end is kind of awkward because there's so many different parts of it. I think as a T is even worse. I mean, I did try and give these a natural curve to them, the letters. But it didn't really go anywhere because the rest of the overall shape was just completely messed up and didn't make sense. It looks like I'm making it sideways. And I think I'm doing it subconsciously, but I am subconsciously, like, correcting my past mistakes. Like, it should look like that. It shouldn't look head on. I have definitely also made the letters closer, which it's kind of like a natural response to the circumstances, I guess you could say, that the character is in. So it's not ideal, like you see, it is kind of on the side still, but it's a lot better than it was. And as I say, if I have to, I can shift the text like slightly off the visible area of the screen and use the head's ability to try and complete stuff. So I feel like this does need to be slightly canted downwards just to the angle of the fabric to match. I'm not sure if that works, but as I say, for now I'm just trying to get this stuff to look vaguely complete. I think I know what's going on. I think it's because it has to be like in perspective to the what's it? And I don't know. Did I? Yes, I messed that up, but I was easy enough able to correct it. It looks like there is actually a slight tilt to the body in the current perspective. So, like, tilts that way and then it eases that way, which is going to make text a pain unless I change it. I'll probably change it a little. Again, why these shadows have to go, because the whole body is changing. I think for, like, the better, to give it more life and such. I have added detail to the background. I remember the background, basically, it didn't exist behind the character. Now there's like a complete background. I made it in case I wanted to reuse it, so... I made it like that in case I want to reuse it, but now it's fine. I mean, I have thought, like, because I have the Luke character as well, which is from the same story. I could literally just reuse the background, because this isn't something I'm going to, like, sell. It's supposed to just be an extra side project, and, Yes. Also to try and get people to like my writing. As such, that is a thing. So I'll be finishing here for now. As you can see, the text isn't ideal, but it looks better. I can probably bring back that left eye, actually. Again, this isn't ideal, but it works. So we don't ask questions. That's always like the case with me. If it works, you just don't ask questions. Anyway, I'm going to finish here today, which is actually probably going to be the shortest of the last 3 streams. But also the one I've got the most done, I reckon. Because I've completely finished like rotating the character and stuff. And moved all the text, all that, which still needs a bit of work. Also, we angled the hand and added the taco Agnatha to where it belongs in the picture. So I'm going to leave it here for today, and I'll say goodbye until another day.